Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider, and I'm here at the Campari Media Center at the Toronto International Film Festival. Want to give a huge thank you to Campari for being our lead sponsor. It allows us to cover all sorts of movies and TV here at TIFF, like I Swear. How are you guys doing?
We're doing very well. Thank you.
Very good, yeah. Thanks for having us.
I really want to start with congrats on the movie. I know that you've seen all the reviews. Everyone seems to be, it must be really nice seeing everyone just like, oh, this is fantastic. This is so good, etc., etc.
It is. I was here 27 years ago at TIFF for my very first film, and it was called Waking Ned Devine, and I'm here 27 years later with a new film, which is extraordinary, and it's just as good an experience now as it was before.
It's almost like you should make more movies.
Well, I did make a few in between. But yeah.
It's a limited resume, I'll say.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm very, very proud of this one. Very proud.
You really should be. So a lot of people watching this will not know anything about it. I hate asking the generic, but how have you been describing it to people?
It's a biopic of a young man called John Davidson who developed Tourette Syndrome when he was 15 years old. And the story follows his life through tragedy and humor and upset and hilarity right through until modern day. So I think John is 53 now.
So you're fantastic in the movie, and everyone's talking about your performance, and I'll echo it. But I'm so curious what it was like for you when you were ultimately offered the role, because it is such a gift as an actor to do this role, but at the same time, it must have been so daunting and nerve-wracking to portray someone accurately. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think when I looked at it sort of objectively like that, it's more terrifying. But then when I met John and I became sort of emotionally invested in John and his story, things became not easier, but at least the sort of goal was stronger, you know? And the more I sort of learned about Tourette's and this community, and I just became so passionate about trying as much as I could to tell an authentic story. I really, really do care about what this film is trying to say and the dialogue it's trying to bring out. So I hope it does that.
So what I'm curious about is, how did you guys work together to craft the performance and know what to do in certain situations and how the tics might manifest in certain situations? You know what I mean? Because it's a delicate craft.
What I'll say is that sometimes situations and circumstances would surprise us, and I really liked that element of things. So like the story was going to be told, but how John felt about it and how the tics were that day and the circumstances that were around were based on the environmental factors, based on the story, based on his emotionality and all of those things, and then it all sort of come together on the day. And so there was an organic nature to the way that certain scenes developed, which I really enjoyed and was always surprising and different every day, you know?
There's a really key conversation very early on where Rob said to me, so everything was scripted, but Rob said to me, you don't expect me to tick those tics in those positions, do you? And I just thought, no, I don't, because the whole nature of Tourette's is that it just comes like a bolt of lightning. So Rob had the freedom on set to make sure that the story was still being told, but to tick, shout, swear, do whatever he wanted to do when it just came over him, rather than thinking, I have to do it in exactly that place because that's what the script says.
Did you do multiple takes, playing situations different ways, so in the edit you would be able to sort of craft it?
Well, every take would be different, right?
Yeah, we also did that just to assess the tone, because as you can imagine, the thing that we talked about most during the whole shoot was the tone of the film, and it's quite difficult getting it absolutely right on the day. So we would often, underplay a scene for comedy or for the emotion. We do what felt right to the two of us, or we just push it a little bit more, because I knew that when I was in the cutting room, I needed options. So, yeah.
One of the things is that you're obviously telling a story on someone real, someone who's alive right now. So, but you're at the same time, you're making a movie. So where and when did you feel like I could embellish a little bit or change things? And how much do you feel like we need to be as accurate as possible?
Well, I started with John's story. I sat with him for days. I listened to everything he could remember about his life. I'd done some research as well. I reminded him of things that he couldn't even remember. So that was the first process. Then I ordered all of that in what I thought was an interesting and engaging story for a film. But of course, I've made small additions, or I've pulled some scenes together, or I've had him in different places at different times to make the most of the story and of the drama and of the comedy as well.
So one of the things I love talking about is the editing process, because it's where it all comes together. So you get in the editing room. Were you ready to jump out the window at first, or did you feel like, oh no, I have this. This is going to come together?
It was good. It was good. The editor had put it together while I was shooting, and the first cut I saw, there's a million things that you want to change and review and dive into. But essentially, I walked out of that room and I thought, we have a film. And that's really all you ever want to do. You want to walk out after that first viewing and think, we have a film.
Sure. What was it like actually for you the first time you watched it? Because, and did you see any rough cuts, or were you waiting to see like it put together?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a different process when you know shooting something versus watching it, because they put music on it and scores on it, and you know, like they take bits out and put bits in, you know. But I've had a trust in Kirk, and I think that the best thing for an actor is if the director has a strong vision, you know, and it's the most joy to an actor to serve that vision. And as a director, Kirk has a really strong vision, so I really enjoyed that process. You know?
John has seen the film as well, and that was a very interesting process. And there were lots of tears, and he's incredibly proud and very, very happy with the film of his story.
So individual question for you, if you don't mind. When did you decide you wanted to dominate TIFF this year between this and Palestine 36?
Well, I actually shot them back to back, very closely together. At the end of Palestine 36, the makeup artist buzzed my hair, because I had like really long hair for Palestine 36 for this film, and then I went off and did like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months of prep, but like they felt so closely linked, and I was working on them together, so it was a really, really cool experience, and obviously such different characters.
A little, just a touch,
and very different working experience.
So one of the things about the film is it starts with you start in the now, and then you go back, and it starts with shouting "fuck the Queen" at the Queen. That's, sorry for the language, but like that's how the movie starts. Talk a little bit about the structure and why you wanted to start with the award and then go backwards.
I like kind of mixing things up, and I was also aware that we were starting with a young John, and then we transition into a John who's kind of in his mid-20s. And I think from a storytelling point of view, one of the practical things that I wanted to do is make sure that people identified this face with adult John right at the beginning of the movie, so that when they came to it later on after his childhood, there was no difficult process. They look and they think, oh, that's adult John, and we know him because we've already had an introduction to him at the beginning of the film. So that was a practical thing. But then when I asked John about the process of receiving the MBE from the Queen, and he said, because sometimes John would forget to tell you things, and I thought I had it. I thought I had it in my head. I thought, well, no, it's good, it's good. And then he says, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, when I went into the room and there was everyone there, I knew I was going to say it, and I said, fuck the Queen. And I thought, okay, that feels like a really strong opening to the film. So I just kind of moved everything around a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not trying to laugh at it's just funny, but want to be clear, I'm not laughing at John, obviously. It's
or the Queen.
Yeah, or maybe I would laugh at the Queen, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So when you're getting ready to do this shoot, again, I can't imagine what you're going through, but what was it like in those like 2-3 weeks leading up to that first day of shooting? What is it like for you as an actor preparing for a role like this?
Yeah.
Because how are you practicing the tics? And you know what I mean? I can only imagine.
Yeah, I always felt that I always felt that I wanted to find the John inside of myself, so like I sort of had this perspective that he was already there, and I just needed to get out of my way in order to let him come out of me, and so I wanted to. I read as much as I could. I met as many people as I could. I wanted to just round out. I was based in Galashiels in the whole prep process, but I was also taking little journeys across Scotland with Tourette Scotland and various other people to just meet people and Zoom with people and see how Tourette's affects people in different ways and their stories, you know, and just spend the day with John. Just spend days with him, going to work, you know, a particularly ticky day or a not so ticky day, as happens with John a lot, and just try and get a more well-rounded experience of him. And then in terms of actually preparing for the shoot, just think, you know, do the fundamentals of what do I want, how am I trying to get it, and you know, and work with Kirk on the scene. So I just tried to not get so intimidated by it, but also just keep what I was passionate about, because I feel really passionate about in my heart, which is to tell an authentic story as best as I could.
One of the things I think the film does so well is balance humor with heart. You know, it feels like you're on a real journey. Like, it's just very well done. So talk a little bit about finding that tone of making sure there is levity and that it's not just like I don't want to say a downer, but like one tone through the whole thing.
No, people are laughing a lot, and they're also crying as well. And I remember when I first met John, I said, you know, if I said to you that I could identify humor, and I was very anxious and nervous about asking him this, I said, if I talk to you about the fact that I think I can identify humor in the condition, will that upset you? Will it anger you? And he said, absolutely not. He said, my life has been a roller coaster, the most tragic, but also the funniest life that you could ever imagine. And it was that mix of both humor and emotion which really inspired me, attracted me to the story, and made me think, yeah, I think I can do something with this.
I have an individual question for you, if you don't mind. So you did Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You're doing Rings of Power.
Yeah.
What's the next big IP that you're taking on? just curious.
No, it's just Elrond for me, man. Yeah, I've got my hands busy with him. Yeah.
Sure. I'm going to reminisce, actually. You did an episode of Mindhunter.
Yes.
And it's one of my all-time favorite Netflix shows. I apologize, I need to dig in, but what the hell was it like working on such a spectacular show?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, for me, it was just working with David. I mean, it was that I honestly believe, and I'm not saying anything just inflammatory, but there was sort of me before David Fincher and me after David Fincher, 100%, because I've always loved specificity, but there is nobody like that man in terms of how specific he is, and how he goes about shooting something. And I just loved the experience of working on it with him, and it really did change me as an actor, and it made me think, wow, this is really how I want to work on stuff, the way he works on stuff. So it was you know, the role and the character and researching Elmer and all of this stuff was amazing, but working with David changed me.
So I know everyone talks about how many takes David does, but yeah. David has told me how he will craft someone's performance by using part of take 4, part of take 16, part of take 29, and he puts it together to craft these performances. I don't know how many takes he had you do, but was that something that you enjoyed, or was that something that after a little while you're like, oh, this is wow?
I loved it. I felt like I could have done more takes because you get to a point of you're thinking, am I acting anymore? Is anything happening anymore? You know, and it's actually the best place to be. It's similar to how I felt working on this in a way, because this sort of requires you to get out of your own way as well, you know? And so like he sort of forces you into that space, which is it's a real amazing experience. I loved it.
I apologize. I have to ask him one more. It's something that needs to happen.
I'm happy.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Rings of Power.
Yeah.
I know you guys are shooting season 3 right now.
Yeah.
What can you tease fans?
No, I don't know what I can tease. They don't. I should have asked, but I don't think I can tease anything. I don't think I'm allowed.
Sure. Is the hair as a result of season 3?
My hair is particularly curly today. I don't know what happened, but there we go.
No, because I don't know. Like, if it's your real? Like, I really don't know if it's real hair or you're wearing a wig. Like.
Yeah. Well, this is my real hair.
No. I meant when you're on set for Rings.
No, that's my hair. Yeah.
So is the hair like this for the season?
I couldn't say. I couldn't say what we're doing this season because I don't want to get into trouble.
Sure. I'll leave it there. Okay. So for both of you, for everyone that's coming in, I'm playing something called Get to Know Your TIFF Attendee. I promise these are really harmless questions. And again, this is, but what's your favorite thing to cook?
I only cook stir fry. I just cook stir fry, chicken stir fry, and shrimp. Probably shrimp or prawn stir fry.
I went on a sushi making course with my wife and my son once, and I like making sushi at home, starting from scratch.
Where do you buy the Where do you buy the seafood from?
Well, I used to go to a Japanese store for very, very high grade. But actually, I've met people who just just go to a great fish market and just buy it fresh, and that's what we do now. Yeah.
Wow, bro. No, I love that you make sushi.
I do. Yeah, I'll make you some.
What is your favorite food? I already know it's sushi, but go on.
I like, I tell you what, I like spaghetti and I like pasta. Yeah, and in particular with kind of seafood or with like prawns and chili and things.
Sushi.
And sushi, yeah.
Of course, we already knew that part.
And Rob, what do you like?
Sunday roast. Sunday roast in the UK in a British pub.
Yes.
Okay. What is the last movie, TV show, or book that you've read that you want to recommend?
TV show, book.
Yeah, like a movie, TV show, or a book that you've recently read or watched that you'd like to recommend.
The Third Man. The Third Man, because it's stuck in my head. That Anton Karas's score for that film is stuck in my head.
Third Man is fantastic.
The Third Man.
I enjoyed Adolescence recently with Stephen Graham, and I feel like everyone has seen that now. But if they haven't, I would say that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Also, what's your coffee order?
Lately, I used to be a cappuccino guy, but lately I'm just black Americano. That's it. Nothing fancy.
Cortado or flat white. Yeah, Cortado.
Do you have a favorite band or musician?
I will never get past David Bowie, and I'll never get over his passing. So that's kind of, if I had to choose one, yeah.
If there's, for people that there's going to be there's still a lot of
people
young
who don't know who David Bowie is.
People know who've heard of David Bowie, but maybe they don't know where to start. Is there an album that you would recommend starting with?
I'd go back to Hunky Dory and just kind of ease your way in and take it from there.
I don't know, maybe Leonard Cohen, maybe Tom Waits.
Oh, Tom Waits, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite, I love going to the movies and I love seeing movies in movie theaters. Do you have like a strong movie going experience memory? Like something that you saw in movie theaters that has stuck with you like your entire life?
I have an unusual one. I was in, but it's not what you're expecting. I went to the cinema once with my wife, and someone had thrown a strawberry milkshake onto the screen, and it had dribbled all the way down the screen. And I went to speak to the manager, and I said, "You realise there's a strawberry milkshake been thrown at your screen? It's dribbled all down." And he said, "Oh yeah, that's been there for a couple of weeks." So that's very memorable, but it has nothing to do with a cinematic experience.
It's like the spoons, isn't it? When they throw the spoons in the room. When they throw the spoons.
That's insane.
It was. He said, "Oh yeah, it's been there a few weeks."
I have no.
There's a movie I love called Never Look Away, German film, and I remember watching that film, and I don't know, it's one of the most powerful movie experiences I've had. I just felt like I was levitating off the seat watching this film. It's a gorgeous film.
Last one for you. I'm a huge fan of Stanley Kubrick. Do you have a favorite Kubrick?
I think Space Oddity for me. 2001. Yeah.
Yeah, The Shining, I suppose.
The correct answer is all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the correct answer. But I'll accept singles.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But listen, I could ask you a million other questions, but the truth is, it's hard to go more than a surface level when no one has seen it yet. And but I really want to say congratulations, because you guys, it's one of my favorites of the fest. You guys did such a great job, and I really think it's going to be so positive for the Tourette's community and, educating people that might not be familiar. And I just want to say thank you for making it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
That's
having
really
us.
kind. Thank you.